Good night, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of Community Engagement. I'm your host, Storm Wilson, alongside Miss Kebe. I believe Pastor Danielle is taking some time off this evening, so it'll just be the ladies. It's ladies' night. Miss Kebe, how are you this week?
Great. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. And for the people that's listening, you guys, tell us how you're doing. How did you spend your week? How was your weekend? Like the engineer just reminded us, a Super Bowl weekend. I did not get to watch the Super Bowl. Don't spoil anything for me. I still have to watch the halftime because that's really what I watch anyway. So Ian, is there any congratulations we should be saying? Voice of voice of the studio.
Yes, actually, congratulate the Eagles for winning the Super Bowl.
We won the Super Bowl?
Yes, we did. And it wasn't just a win, it was a complete blowout.
Wow. Tottenham? I know you guys were so disappointed last year.
Not the year before.
Last minute.
2 years ago we played Kansas City.
Yeah, I think
Should have won.
we were doing a morning show then. It was a crazy time.
Yeah. We
Right.
should have won.
Well, so congratulations to the Eagles on winning, and I can't wait to watch the halftime show myself. I did not get to see it. Miss Kebby, what about you? Did you watch the Super Bowl? You're breaking up.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I said I did. I watched some of it. I watched the halftime. That's my favorite part. I watched a little bit of it. When I started watching it, the other team was still out of 0, and I was like, yes, this is a massive win. Like, it's not even close. Then out of that minute, like 5 minutes left in the game, it started to catch up. I'm like, no, 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 no. But yeah, the game was fun. It was really interesting. And yes, Eagles. Congratulations to Eagles.
I don't watch. We've been arguing with Ian for years about it. I don't watch.
You should.
Honestly, can't remember the argument, but listen.
The argument was that I can't even remember. I just remember saying I prefer to vote for underdogs, and you said because I live here, I should be voted. I should be on the side of the Eagles.
Yeah, you should at least have some Eagles gear. At least get a T-shirt, something.
Well, my mom is going to put Zama in a She's going to the parade on Friday. That's why she probably said that. So mommy's gonna put Zama in a Eagles. She got him a top like jersey, a Eagles jersey. So he'll be out there Friday with everybody else.
Hmm.
So I guess he's my Go Eagles. Somebody came out supporting. So tonight we're getting into what are we getting into tonight, Miss Kebby? I believe we're going to be talking about cleanliness and health as a community, how to get our community healthy and clean
And safe.
and safe. So that's an interesting topic. That means because we usually talk about preparation within our home, within our family, and we talk about natural disasters where you should go as a community and stuff like that. But making a plan to make our community clean, healthy, and safe every day, we haven't talked about yet. So I'm looking forward to the show.
Yes, because like you said, we talk like individually, like how you take care of your home, how you prepare yourself, you know. So yes, as a community, what do we do? These are things that like as a whole community, we have to make sure that it's not a one person's thing, you know. We have to make sure that our community is safe. We have to make sure that our community is clean. We have to make sure that we supporting healthy habits, because like if you have a community that is full of sick people, or that a community that does not prioritize health and safety and all of this and cleanliness, it turns out to be a non-productive community. So if we're going to take care of ourselves, how do we take care of our communities, our surroundings? How do we like come together as people to make sure that we in a safe place? So like we said, I would say like promoting active participation in keeping the environment clean. As a community, we need to make sure that we address potential safety concerns through community initiatives. and encourage healthy lifestyles. Like I was saying, a community full of sick people or not healthy people or people who are not focusing on being healthy or taking care of prioritizing their health is not a productive community. So definitely like encouraging healthy lifestyle choices is one of the things that we can do. We have to foster a sense of belonging and inclusivity, sorry for my pronunciation. And also collaborate with local authorities and organizations to implement necessary changes. Like through our meetings, we talk about being able to participate and collaborate, create partnership with local organizations within our community. So these are some of the things that we can do to make sure that we have a safe, healthy, and clean community.
So, do you just said a mouthful for us to attack? Like, what would be the first step? What do you think is the first step towards starting to clean up your community? Let's say you live in one of those communities where there's trash, not everywhere, but more trash than there should be on the roads. It's not exactly a safe community. What would you say is the first step towards you making that better?
I would say like regulating or doing community cleanups, like cleanup drives, because in
Well,
as
let's
much
say you don't know like what's the step? Like how do you start to do community cleanup? Do you organize your own cleanup crew? Do you join an existing one? What would you say is the first step? Because for example, a regular person be like, where do I start? Like I see the trash on the corner, I see this, other than me going and pick it up every day by myself, where do I start so that I can get involved?
I would say you can start as an individual. You can start by yourself. People like to see people doing things and then they get motivated. You can start by yourself, but as a community, like you can create a cleaner drive. Like, hey, guys, let's come together because again, you cannot wait for. You cannot sit back and say, oh, okay, the state needs to take care of this. Okay, the district's going to take care of this. Because if you just sit back, and then again, there will always be people who will not follow the rules. So, but when people see you taking initiatives, people see you doing things, they become embarrassed. Like if I'm always throwing trash on the street, I'm not putting the trash where it's supposed to be. This is like a constant hobby. This is something that I always do. And I see people in the community gather and they come to clean that place. They be nice. Hey, hi. They clean. They do it one or two times. Do you think I'm still gonna be like, okay, let me just keep throwing trash and have my community members come and clean after me?
There are
No,
some
people have.
community members like that. But I get what you're saying. Be the change you want to see. Like you need to encourage people. I would
Right.
say one of the first steps is you definitely start going to your tongue meetings and stuff like that. I know we've said that before, but I don't think we know the importance of it. There and then you voice your opinion. Hey, is there any way to start a community cleanup project? Is there an existing one? Sometimes there's existing cleanup projects, things that we don't even know about. Is there an existing one that I could go help and be a part of? If there's not, how do we create one? Sometimes something as simple as starting a Facebook page and you record yourself going and get it done. And I'm gonna put something in there that may or may not have to do with this, but this is why it is important to go to your town meetings and really vote at a base level. A lot of times we vote for presidencies, the big elections we vote for, but we don't vote for the people, the congressmen, the people who's representing our community, who push for these initiatives.
Right.
So it is very important that you get to know who represents your city, your town, your township. Get to know those people because a lot of people don't know who represents their township, right? So and you talk to those people about creating initiatives to clean up. You'll be surprised to see how much people want to do it but don't know how to start or what's the first step. Besides town meetings, go Google your community on Facebook. See if there's any community projects. Like I just was on Facebook looking at Delco because I live in the Delco. What do they call it? Not to yet Delco Township, and we have 50 something community boards. one for kids, one for single moms, one like a whole ton of them. And we do have one that is do trash cleanup. Again, it's, you know, getting involved, making the effort to get involved. You have a neighbor. If you talk to one or two of your neighbors, get together. Let's go clean up Miss Jane's yard, knock on her door because she's probably elderly and can't clean up herself. Let's start a page. Let's knock on the door, say, hey, we're looking for volunteers to help. Something, just take a step forward. And again, when people see you, like you said, when people see people taking initiative, it becomes a snowball effect. You get inspired and you get involved.
Before you know it, it becomes fun. And then, like we said, having usual or regular community meetings, these are where you were also saying too, these are where these kind of things are discussed. So like you can, like I said, a cleanup job, you can do proper waste disposal system where you make sure that there's accessible recycling bins, like you educating people. And trust me, believe it or not, there are, especially for we immigrants, there are people who come and they don't know like about the recycling bins. So, you know, like how you have to put certain things in the recycling bins and certain things go to waste. So these are things that you educate people, because if people do not know, they might just put things to where they don't belong and just don't care. Or probably not because too that they just don't care, or because they're not educated to know. So these meetings, these trainings, all of these things are going to help people to understand better, which will like foster cleanliness within the community. Also, like you can adopt a program, a block program, assign responsibility for maintaining specific areas to residents. You know, like, hey, James Brown going black, so and so. That's a responsibility. Make sure this block is clean. Like if you assign people responsibilities, they feel they have some sort of importance attached to them, that hey, I can be trusted with this. So that person gonna be like, okay, I'm the leader for this group, so I'm gonna make sure this is clean. Plus, if that person black, it definitely brings some sense of responsibility to them to make sure that they keep things intact. And then the load is not gonna be on one person; it's kind of divided. So,
and it's a funny thing because the neighborhoods that needs cleaning up the most is usually underprivileged neighborhoods that needs the cleaning up the most. And it's not that there's not enough bodies to keep it clean or help keep it clean, or there's less people or more people, or, you know, like the richer neighborhoods don't have people who, you know what I mean? It is simply a lot of times a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see, if your neighborhood is cleaner, you feel better, you feel healthier. There's less roaches, mice in the neighborhood, period, right? Than if you keep. I have driven through neighborhoods where garbage are piled high, one on top of the other. Now, we are fortunate to live in a country where garbage is picked up in front of your house. Where I come from in the Caribbean, you have to take it to a big dumpster, and they only pick up the garbage in the big dumpster. Mm-hmm. We don't even have to carry it all the way there. All you have to do is put the garbage in front of your house, and it becomes a chore. So, talking about how to identify what needs to be done, one of the things we did mention is cleanup, garbage cleanup. We really have to do that. Hi, Pastor Daniel, Reverend Pastor Daniel.
Hello, I'm just from having the board meeting, so we split. I said, yeah, Kevin is doing well. I guess so.
No, she is doing extremely well.
Okay. How's everything? Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Happy Eagles win.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Did you stay late last night to watch the game?
I did not see it. Don't spoil the halftime for me.
I watched it from start to end. I know I had like 30-minute, no, not 30, like about 15-minute dose. But I was on time still. I finished the game well.
Good. So yeah, we were talking about, well, I didn't watch the game. I never ever watched the game, but I do watch the halftime show, so I'm looking forward to that. My mom is taking my son down to the parade on Friday, so he'll be wearing an Eagles jersey. And that's where we're at. We are in the middle of discussing community cleanup, community health, and community safety. So the point we're talking about is identifying what needs to be done.
Well, basically, if I would jump in, I know you, I hope, the people say I will allow you people to flow, but I'm not jumping in. You want to make sure that you have the tools available, which I believe you people have already talked about that. The tools available. So if you, then like you talk about, then you have to sit down and plan first, because we've been talking about preparedness, and that's what this is all about. So community cleanup, who are the leaders that are taking this initiative? And if the leaders are identified, the leaders need to come up to say, what do we need? What resources do we need to get this done? And that part of that resources will include the tools, in addition to the manpower, or what resources are available there. What do you need to get that done? How many rigs or so forth you will need, or what sort of, first of all, you need to know what the strategy will be like. Is it, are you using a manual cleanup, or you're going to use maybe what I would say mechanical cleanup, where you're going to use maybe machines? And based on the response to that question will determine what resources you will need for that. Though some of them may intertwine, but I would say the majority part of them will be, once you identify the means or the mode in which you're going to do the activity, that will now move you to the next phase as to what you're going to use to do the cleanup. Let me just stop there, saying I'm just jumping in so I don't repeat all the points you all said.
We spoke about that, but we were also, because I was sure most of the listeners most likely is everyday people and not people in that authority, which we would welcome all those people in authority to watch us, but the everyday people that wants to know how to get involved. What's the first? So Ms. Kemi and I was talking about what's the first step for an ordinary citizen to get involved in community cleanup, especially if you live in a community where you feel like there is no community cleanup. So we were mentioning why it's important to go to your community meetings. It shouldn't have 6,000 people. Like our community has 22,000 people. We had 13, 14 citizens at our last community meeting. Mind boggling, right? So getting involved, not just for cleanup, but getting involved in your neighborhood, period. That's one of the best ways to start. We were talking about there may be cleanup crews already, we just don't see them. Go on Facebook and put in your community and see if there's any cleanup initiatives there to join, because maybe they just need people to give it life. Sometimes people start something and there's not enough people to give it life. So just go and check that. And if there's none, you could create one as a regular citizen. And again, this is why it's important to know your community leaders, know who your congressman is, know who's representing your community, not just on a president or legislative level, but the people in our backyard. We forget about those elections. We forget about knowing who those people are, and they live in our backyards. So that's super important, I think. And part of identifying what needs to be done is it just a garbage issue? Is it an overgrown lawn issue in some places? What is it that's really going on in the community? Like Pastor said, you have to sit down and say, hey, this is what's going on. How do we get this resolved? And I think going to your meetings and voicing your opinions in that way, because there may be people at those meetings that feel the same way that you do, and you could form a committee or crew to not just for one massive cleanup, but to keep that neighborhood clean.
Sir, I love the part about that community meeting component, because I believe that's where you're going to get everything you need, where all voices will be on the table, where everyone will be able to put their resources down there to say, okay, I think we need this, we need that, or I can volunteer this service, I can volunteer this tool, I can recommend this. So I love that part where the community really get together to determine how they're going to give a facelift. Now, I think Quebec can even contribute more to this when we've done a couple of how do we call it, community beautification, right? On the 58 block. Okay, part of that, what we've been involved is to, first of all, plan it, and then get what we wanted to get as tools. And then when we got together with the youth, what did we do? We kind of let them know what we were about to do. And before this time, we have told them that, okay, next time we meet him, we're going to do this activity, we're going to do community beautification, and then come prepare, bring, appropriate footwear, and so forth. Though we're going to bring this along as an entity, but you make sure you bring X, Y, and Z as you are able, So the folks, they came ready for those activities. And what we did, we had a wonderful time together, beautifying the 58 Black Street and living the community in a big kind of highway, like people passing, the looking, and they really seeing the unity among us doing it was nice looking doing that. So that's why I want to buttress on that part of the community meeting together to determine how they want to give a facelift to their community.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you guys went in and you did that and if we want to be sustainable, people who live there is who has to continuously contribute to keeping it clean, right? So I'll challenge everybody out there, go to one community meeting within the next couple of months. Just one. Get to know who's representing your township or your district. Most of us don't know who's representing our district. Get to know the person who's representing that place. I have a friend of mine that's heavy into politics, and he said to me, you think the presidential election acts like the most important thing, but it's not. It's who's representing you on a daily basis. You have to get to know those people because those are the ones who get into the higher powers and you get to know who they are. And those are the ones who advocate for you, for community, the garbage bins, community. You need to get involved. You need to know who your judges, we vote for judges. I didn't even know that, but you vote for judges. So we really need to and know what's going on. So part of contributing to our community cleanliness, you'll start to get more active and you'll get to know more. I think the next topic we could move on to is getting a plan. I think Pastor Daniel touched on that.
Yeah, he said it so perfectly well. Yeah, so we talk about plans, we talk about cleanliness. I was just thinking, like, how do we also foster safety in the community as a whole community? Like, how do we promote community safety?
Can I answer that? Or I mean, I don't know. I think before it would have been like, oh, we got to light the areas. We got to put watches here. And the thing is, we have all of that now, and it's still not totally safe. Like neighborhoods here are super lit. It's not like back home where they have a whole alley with no lights in it. Right? Right? You guys know it's an alley? Like there's no alley with no lights in it that people can run down. And like our neighborhoods are perfectly lit here. So I think for me, it's like I live in a neighborhood with a ton of abandoned buildings. And that's because, short history, this was a full business district. Like there's a lot of businesses. There was college activities with the kayaking because we have the river and stuff like that. And when that went down, a lot of the businesses went down. So there's a ton of buildings here. The residential is thriving, but the business, all the big business buildings, they're all empty. So that's a place where I believe that there's a lot of illegal activities happening. So I think for my community specifically, one of what we could do for safety is let them know that, hey, we either do an initiative to use these buildings and not leave them abandoned, or, I don't know what to board them up. I mean, I'm just saying that, but there's probably a lot of technical tapes to who owns it, who doesn't own it, what they could do with it, what they can't do with it. But having them just there and running down devalues the community, number one, and then it creates hotspots for illegal stuff.
Right.
Because I see people running in and out of there. So I think the question I would say for crime in my neighborhood is to talk to our representative about all the abandoned buildings in my neighborhood, because there's a lot of people need housing. There's a lot of people need a lot of stuff, and these buildings. I have been living here for 2 years, but we've owned it for at least 10 years. And for the 10 years, even when we were living in and out and people were visiting, those buildings have been abandoned and just running down.
Mm.
So I do think something needs to be done about them.
Yes. And I can share a kind of example with someone that I know who has a property around the 63rd Street on Woolen. And this is something that got a history of about maybe 15 years or nearly 18 or 20 years ago. One thing he shared with us was that the place was bushy and it used to be a hub for drugs addict, prostitution, and you name it. And he was looking for a place for a church. And he was driving, he saw the spot. He got led that is the spot. So he started looking for the owner. He found the owner, and long story short, he said, well, you see the place is dirty, bushy, and all of that. And he said, well, would still take it. So the long story short, they end up acquiring a place. The bush and all of that was there, they leveled it down, they brushed it, and thereafter they cleaned up the property, they restructure it. Today, it is really, really a very high property in the community there. If it tells you how much he paid for it and how much the property value today, you will say, hey, God, Judge, you will put your hand and say, you got free property, right? Because, I mean, compared to the way he bought it 18 years ago to what the value of that property is today, but also what the community, the houses around, all of them, the value has increased because the way he situated it and the way he made it look, it really increased it. So in a nutshell, I think the community involvement to really make their community look better by tidiness, getting together and planning how they want it done, it's really important. Even as we speak now, there is a plan for the city of Philadelphia. They call it the 2035 plan, where they're going to remodernize the city in some areas, some community of the city. They're going to do restructuring of those cities, or some of the communities rather, in the city of Philadelphia. They call it the 2035 plan. They have already done the plan and they've been reviewing it. So it is at the verge of, all these approvals with the community and so forth. So community, like Ms. Storm said, it's important that when your community meets, get involved. Be a voice into your community activities. You live there, don't get yourself alienated or exempted. It's your community, especially when you have a property in the community. You get involved. For example, the borough meetings or the township meeting, your blocks meeting, right? So you get, ask your neighbors, does this community, let's say you move in the community newly, or let's say you there, but your business schedule has not permitted you to do that survey. Well, ask neighbors, what are the events house owners need to be involved here? Or community resident, you don't have to be a house owner, right? Some people are renting, they've been there for like 10 years, they're comfortably renting in one house.
Yes, 20 years. I have a neighbor who's been renting next door to me for 20 years.
20 years. Somebody is comfortably renting 20 years. If they have taken a mortgage, they will have just been left with 10 years to pay that mortgage off, but comfortably renting, right? But so you in the community, That's not what we're discussing today. But if you are in a community and you are living there, your children going to school there, it's important that you get involved. Get involved by, participating in those meetings that promote the welfare or the well-being of the community. Yeah. I wanted to add that piece there.
I know we are just talking about community cleanliness and safety, but it all intertwines and it all trickles into each other, right? We have to participate. And I think that's the most important point we could, at least for me, we could leave anybody with tonight. You have to participate. You can't talk about a community strategy to clean up or to make more safe if you're not a part of it. You cannot wish, like people have it as, I know some people have it like, oh, I'm only in here until I can afford something better to go to a better neighborhood. Make your neighborhood better. Like participate. And as immigrants, we come here and we just go with the flow. If nobody don't talk to us, we don't talk to anybody. Whereas where we come from, everybody always in everybody business. That's really where we come from. When I say that, I mean it's a good and a bad thing. Everybody. Like I grew up where my neighbors watched us as kids. We didn't need babysitters and stuff like that. You went to the neighbor's house, she watched you for a little while until your mom come home. That's how deep that community was. Whereas when you come here, I do not know one person on my block I would leave my son with if I have an emergency. That's how we come into this community, and we don't just bring our values with us, we adapt to them. We bring our food and we bring our sense of style, but we don't bring those particular values, and we really need to do that, and we need to contribute and be a part of it. Like you can't look down on it. You can't just say just passing through. You can't just say I'm just living here. You have to be a part of it. You'll be surprised to see in 2 or 3 years what your community looks like with just your participation.
That's so true. That's an excellent point. Right. We'll bring our food and all other things, but when it comes to that, like we are very selective on the things that we think we should bring. Probably because we think that it's not going to fit into the society here. But again, people make adjustments. Some people you might never know how interested other people would be into the things that you're bringing. It could be like a full change within a community. Just imagine a community where everybody cares for each other, everybody kind of know each other, and then you can be like you're saying, if you have an emergency, you can't even leave your child with nobody. But imagine a community where people are love and care for each other and just united in case of emergency. Like you have somebody who has your back, or you have people who have your back, like back home. So those are all great points. I just wanted to add like neighborhood watch programs. Like even with the cleanliness thing we're talking, do you know that there are people who drive into communities, especially communities where they see that there are dikes piled up, and they just take their trash and just carry it to that community and just dump it? And sometimes the trash and the garbages that are seen in some communities, they are from there, but sometimes most of them comes from other places too. And like people will be like, I want my own community clean, but I do not care about your community. First of all, if you're not taking care of your place, why should I care about your place? I'll just bring mine and add it. So even with the watch programs, people will be vigilant, to report suspicious activities. Like if you see something suspicious going on, you're going to be able to call the authority. If you see people consistently bringing trash and dumping it within your community, you're going to put a stop to it.
I can tell you, if your community was clean, people wouldn't dump trash there. Nobody will take trash from their community and drop it into another community that is clean because they think somebody's going to catch them. They will always go and dump it in a community that they think is already dirty.
Right.
So it's a good way to prevent that as well, just by being a cleaner community. And it's easier than we think. It's time consuming to add to our busy days and our busy life. Like, for example, I can't think of any one of us who wants to add an extra activity or extra job to what we already do because we're busy as it is. But it's worth it. If you could spend 2 hours a week doing that, or for you know what I mean? Like it's worth it. So I get it. We're busy. A lot of us are working 2 jobs. A lot of us are moms, parents, plus doing what we're doing on top of that, plus have our activities. So I understand why people don't get involved, but it's worth it.
But again, it's not even like you have to like do it like make it like a whole chore or full time. Just be vigilant. And again, in certain communities, like on the blacks, you see there are people who like don't really have jobs, like they don't really go to work. Like people do go into offices or other places. Like you will see people who are just in a community on the blacks. These are people you have to make use of, people in a community who are available. So hey, I know you always on this black. Can you just keep your eyes up? You know, just in case you see anything suspicious, or just in case you see things going on that are not supposed to go on, we just watching out for our community, making sure that we are safe. Our community is clean. So if you see anything, say something. Or you could even be in your house. That people have ring cameras now. If you see something, it might not even be that you just sitting there looking for something. But if you see something, don't just be like, okay, that does not concern me, so I'm not going to say nothing. Say something. Because if you just sit back and say, okay, that does not concern me, it is your community. If something goes wrong, you are going to be impacted one way or the other.
That's right. With that point you brought up, Kerry, I want to really talk about, make a little additional, input on that. I remember like 2 occasions or multiple occasions, but specifically what happened to ours. When we were renovating our church building, right? So the contractor brought a dumpster in the compound and had it packed there. So, you know, it takes the trash and dump it there. So on 2 occasions, some community drivers, they came in with heavy, probably it's another contractor, I will put it so, came in with heavy trash, dump it in the dumpster, to the point the dumpster was filled and it was all on the floor. I said, what's that? Then we used to be in the community where they have the community trash, you know, those big, like 4-yard, or I think maybe 8-yard or 32, or 8-yard to 20-something yard dumpster as well. And where you put the trash and at some particular day they take it. We see people who don't live there bringing trash and dumping it because it's a general place. So when I'm driving around, I see those dumpsters and people put lock on there, I can reason with them. But like Kevin put it, we need to care. We need to be on the lookout for one another. And doing so is that, you know, we need to set the example that we can keep our community clean. And here is why. Cleanliness, people say, is next to holiness or godliness. So when we set that stage where we are keeping our communities clean, what we do is we're telling the next neighbor that, you know, we don't associate with death in this place. You know, you enter in some offices or some houses, for you to enter into the living room, you want to take out your shoe. They don't need to tell you, right? Has it happened to you before? You want to see someone, and by the time you saw their living room, you know you want to get out and look at your shoe, and you say,
my mom has a friend, and when I go to her house, I do not go past the entrance. Like I don't want nothing on my clothes to get in her stuff. It's an all-white house. This lady, if she walks 2 steps, she mops. I don't want. So when you mention that, that's funny. Like I don't even want to go past the entryway because beautiful home, all white. When I say all white, everything is all white. And if she stepped 2 steps, she white, and and I was like,
No.
Sometimes going to somebody's house and they don't even have to tell you. You don't want to come in their house with your shoes on. You think your regular foot needs to get to go into their house. So I know what you're talking about, and that's the reference I made earlier. People don't take garbage and dump it in clean communities. They take it and dump it in communities they think is already dirty. So you clean up your neighborhood helps prevent that as well. And there is amazing things with neighborhood, like block initiatives and stuff like that. But we need to become part of our own community. It's great to volunteer and go and clean up other. Like, we need to start to talk to people about their own communities. Like, I come from Brooklyn, and we had block parties every summer. Every block used to sign up with the community, like what day you want to do your block parties. And there was always a block mom that always organized whatever. Everybody brings something to eat. I don't see that here. So I think this summer I'm going to try to see if we could initiate it and see how it happens. Because believe it or not, everybody on my block, I'm the youngest person here. Everybody on my block has been here for over 10 years. So they should know each other, and we'll see how it goes. But it's my block isn't dirty, but there's one overgrown yard, and everybody talks about, oh, we're gonna call the city on her and all of that. And I was like, we need to just go get it cut.
Yeah.
Places where they just block one street or one block and they just throw a party.
Right, and that's a great way to get to know your neighbors. That's a great way to get to know neighborhood kids. That's a great way to get to know just, it's because if you go and you see somebody there in that kind of spirit, you sure when you see them the next time you say hello to them. You won't just pass them straight on the road. And I think that's the start of creating a community that looks out for each other.
That's true. So another point for safety that I want to bring is like emergency preparedness training, like educating residents on disaster response plan. Like we all want, like when we say like creating plan your preparedness plan kits and all of those things, like how to respond in case of emergency. That when we're talking about what are some of the emergencies that happen within our communities or within the communities in which we live, like natural disasters and all of those things. Like how do you prepare to respond to them? Because there might be people who do not have ideas on what to do, what not to do. Again, like we talk to most of us, most of our communities are immigrants coming here. Like there are a lot of things that people don't know. You might think people know, but
well, I think sorry, are you done? I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, I think it goes back to when Pastor Daniel first came in, what he said. I think for something like that, the most impactful way to do it, and again, all these things just bleed into each other. I think you gotta figure out the tools. Can you get somebody to teach? Then you get flyers together. You knock on people's doors. Hey, we're having a free CPS class. It's not certified because you have to pay for a certified one, but just so you know, and you could take a free CPR course. I'm pretty sure if you could get 2 or 3 instructors, you knock on door. Hey, we're having a free at the community center. A lot of people don't even know where the community center is in the neighborhood. And you say, hey, we're having a free, and you'll be surprised to see how much people go to events like that. I'll tell you how I became a part of my church, and I haven't gone to church in 20 years. They had a first-time home buyers conference at a church that I was a part of. And I went and I met the pastor and I met the people there, and they were so welcoming. So we've been going to church for a year now, and we've been hosting a couple first-time home buyers around the neighborhoods and a couple of the cities around here. So we've been hosting those events. But that's how I got invited to my church after 20 years of not going to church. I went there and they were so welcoming, and they literally live they're 5-10 minutes away from me, which means I could put on my sneakers and walk my son there during the summer. And we haven't missed any services. So it's a good thing when you have community. If they didn't have a community outreach program like that of first-time home buyers, I would not have met that. And that's why I'm saying everything bleeds into each other, and it lends into what you want to do. Just become a part of something. And now that we host those events, I've met a lot of friends, good people. We're starting a stay-at-home mom's club for those of us who stay at home, and we have one kid and the kid doesn't have anybody else to play with. Now we are starting that from having these events. So yeah, that's my point is, like you were talking about the safety and CPR classes. Get one place to hold the CPR class. You go knock on the doors, because that's how we got people to come to our first time home buyers event. We knocked on doors in like 5 and 6 or 7 blocks. We just knocked on every door. Like, do you know anybody who wants to buy their home? Anybody living in your house that you want them to get their home so they could leave your house?
Okay. Go on, tell more.
Yeah, that's how we got people to come to
So
the.
how did you have realtor in the church, or just the realtor in the church had that conversation and they
I'm a
both?
realtor.
You are a realtor.
Yeah. So my specialty is first-time home buyers. So that's why so I was a part of that event. And again, we just knocked on everybody's door, like, hey, do you own this home? Are you renting? Do you want to sell? Do you have
interrupt you? Do you know I don't know that you're a realtor?
that's
Jack of all trades.
what do you think I do? Well, I'm a designer, I designed for years, but I've been a realtor now for going on a year and a half. I've worked in the real estate industry for over 10 years. But yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, our specialty is having those events, the first-time home buyers events. The government have a lot of programs to assist. People think you have to have a certain amount of money to buy, when you don't. You really don't. So we try to educate people on how to get into their own home without as much as they need, and how to get into these programs that would support them get what they need.
In case you need to buy a house.
You're breaking up, sorry.
When I was talking to our audience, I said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a realtor. So in case you're looking to buy a house, yes, she is.
Anyway, I am licensed in Pennsylvania and New York.
2 states.
2 states. So I will probably talk about that another time. But yeah, getting involved in your community is so important. I mean, there's so much benefits. Like I don't want to railroad the show, but the benefits are, even if if you're involved in community organizations, you tend to know which houses. Somebody will tell you, my neighbor's selling, or abandoned homes. You could buy dirt cheap, get into programs to help and give you the money to fix it up. There's so many programs you could get into by moving into low-income neighborhoods. And people don't know that they could do that, because if you're paying rent, you could buy a house. You may not be.
Now, if you are still paying a rent, you could buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that message gone across to 10 persons tonight. Wow.
Yeah, if you are paying rent, you can buy a house. You may not be able to go out and buy tomorrow, but we could definitely start you on the road, and you'll be in there sooner than you think. Everything is diligence, right? And again, being a part of the community, you tend to know what's coming up, who is, like so much benefit, so much safety. Like, communities has free clinics. People don't even know that. If you do not have insurance and you just immigrated here, there is places you could go to get healthcare. Like, be a part of community. Go to the township meetings. Ask the questions that you need to ask. I cannot express that enough. It's mind-boggling to me how people know everything happening on a particular show, but they don't even know what's going on in their own neighborhood and their own resources. You have resources. One of the most beautiful things about America is the resources for low-income people.
Yeah, we don't know what will happen in the next year or two, but
we don't, as of right.
Yeah.
As of right now, there is okay. So this should be incentive. If you are listening, this message is for you. Find out what is the resources in your neighborhood. Go to a township meeting, meet somebody, get in touch with somebody. Go shake your representative hand and introduce yourself. Volunteer somewhere. I'm not even talking about doing every week. I'm talking about doing 4 hours a month. Volunteer somewhere, do something. Nothing is free. You should dedicate your time in exchange for resources. There is clinics in our neighborhoods that we don't even know. There is days in our hospital. If you belong to a certain neighborhood, you could go in and get treated or a full checkup. You understand? Like, if you are of a certain income, there is resources in the hospitals. If you can't pay your, like, there's so much resources that we don't even know. Get involved in your community. And not only that, when you get involved in your community and you elect the right people, you get even more resources. If you live in a Chester area right now, we just got $2 billion to be able to buy, so people to buy homes here to help with closing costs.
Chester, PA. Chester, PA.
Chester, Pennsylvania, and the Delco area. Just our area. So I don't even know how much Philadelphia got. You understand what I'm saying? So you gotta get involved.
Gather the information and so that we can share that with the people. So that is part of the preparedness we need to do. Even though we need to, especially the Philadelphia, if you get the information for Philadelphia, you can really share that so that we can share with
Well, I'm gonna do I only do condos right now in Philly, but I am definitely going to look into low income housing. Not you going into low income housing, but low income buying of houses, first time home buyers, especially. I'm going to look into that information, and I know Pastor Daniel and Miss Kirby, you guys have your organization, Rising Home for Change. I'll give you guys the documents, and you guys are in Philly, right? So you'll be able to distribute and get that stuff going. You need it, like, we need to make this push. Again, we don't know 6 months from now what resources are going to be available. I would jump on it like we say in Caribbean, white on rice, quick. Like, just be on it as soon as possible. And you can Google a lot of these things. And if you don't, and you are not able to find that information, pass and contact Rising Home for Change, and you guys know how to get in contact with me. Let's do this. Let's make our community bigger, better, and bolder. I was going to say badder, but I don't want to say that for Pastor Daniel.
It's okay. I'm just taking in, and we'll see how we can conceptualize the information and make it relevant. But that's good. So tonight's conversation is not only for our listeners, but it's also for all of us, every one of us, here. So it's very informative, and that's why we love to meet our wonderful listeners. That's why we love to meet you every Monday here, so that we can share this vital information on this platform, to help educate us how we can prepare, make our community better, healthy, safer again, right? So we can, let me borrow the president word again, all right? Make our community healthier, safer again, okay? And particularly making them free of all this violence around. So that literally we can
instead of making it hard for good people to live in bad neighborhoods, let us make it hard for bad people to live in bad neighborhoods. Let's do that. Let's make it difficult for them to come here and live and do what they do.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an awesome moment today. You have a long day. We all have long days, but also it's a little bit cool. But you are there listening to us. We really appreciate your time. And of course, this program will not even be successful without the exclusive support of the Philadelphia Department of Public Health, but also without the platform being made available, Island Calibrant Station, Caribbean station, we will not be able to air this information on this airways. And so we want to thank you. And of course, as a community organization, Rising Up for Change is your neighbor. We are located at 1628 South 58th Street. And you can locate us right there. Or you can email us at info@rhfc.info. Email us at info@rhfc.info. You can also visit us at the Derby Office 3, Chester Park, Derby, PA 19023. leave a comment, leave a comment, and if you're inquiring about something, reach out, leave it there, and we'll get back to you shortly. Of course, you can always let us know how we can serve you and improve, the community better. Well, thank you so much. We're going to go around the panelists to kind of share their closing parting comments, so that we can give you back some time tonight to have some rest. Ladies, anyone can do
For
your closing.
joining. Thank you, Aneva. Thank you, Miss Tom, so much. Tonette was very educative. Hey, can this video be shared? If it can, please share the video so that someone else can watch it too. And thank you so much, Pastor Daniel. Thank you, Rasen, for change. And of course, thank you, PDPH. It has been a great evening. And we hope that we get to see you again next week.
Hi guys, again, thank you so much. Leave a comment if we inspired you to do anything tonight, get involved. Just give us a thumbs up. You don't even have to write a full sentence. Just give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we spoke about tonight, you can get in contact with us. Just leave a comment. We'll get the message. Again, my name is Storm Wilson. I'm here with Miss Kebby and Pastor Daniel. This is Community Engagement, and we'll see you next week, Monday at 7 p.m.
Thank you, and have a wonderful one.